E-commerce brands cannot afford to be making this mistake. I'm going to go through exactly what it is and how you can avoid this mistake so that you can make your business super profitable, super sustainable for the long term. And I see this mistake all the time with brands that I speak to and brands that do come into our e-commerce blueprint community, our paid community that helps e-com brands scale their first 10K all the way up to 100K per month. And I've helped about 200 people, just beyond 200 people over the last 2 years at this point, hit record revenue months, whilst also co-founding my e-commerce business, my brother, in 2013 as well, that's gone on to do multiple 7 figures per year. So what I'm talking about in this video, and I'm going to really help you with, I'm going to break down some really practical things that you can take away and execute yourself, is content creation. All right, that often gives brand owners like shivers because a lot of them do fear and procrastinate on creating content, putting out content. And I'm specifically talking about social media content, and there's a myriad of reasons why people don't do it. But firstly, the benefits of producing content regularly are twofold the way that I see it. Firstly is that it lets people know that someone's home with the business. Okay, our social media profiles are a lot like a secondary website these days. So people come to our social profiles either from influencers or competitions, or literally just searching for you or people recommending. And it's really important that people see that somebody is home within that business. All right, if you go to a business that hasn't posted in 5, 7, 12, a month, people might think that you're not even in business anymore. So it's really important for us to show that someone's home. Now, content also builds up that knowing, liking, and trusting that helps people make informed decisions that you are the one to purchase from if they're in the market for whatever that product actually is for you. So that's the first thing, is from a prospective customer or even customer's perspective, seeing regular social content is really, really crucial. The second thing is it lets the algorithm also know the same thing. Okay, so basically by you posting on a social media platform, it shows the algorithm that your business is social, potentially that it should favor you in certain ways when it comes to ads or reach or serving impressions. All right, but then on the back of that as well, any work that we're doing or practice that we're doing with content also pulls into the ad creation side of things. So think of it even as like a practicing mechanism where you can practice what people are going to respond to using different forms, the types of content, which I'll go into in a minute to help you out, that we can use in ads. Okay, and it's based on us not just coming up with this fresh idea 10 out of 10 straight away, from cold in terms of producing content. It might come on the 9th, 10th, 15th, 20th post or idea that we create something worth putting ads that people are actually going to respond to. So the two real benefits is that somebody's home, your prospective customers know that, your customers know that, the algorithm knows that, and then also being able to practice with content in terms of effective content that you could potentially use in paid media as well. And so the biggest challenges that people face are again twofold. So the first thing is that people get stuck at the idea creation phase, right? The ideas. They're like, I don't know what to post, I don't know what, it has to be perfect. I just don't know what to do or what I should post. And it falls to the bottom of the list and basically never gets done. All right, so I'm going to solve that problem for you today, but that's mostly where people get stuck. The second thing is that people don't see any instant gratification from content. You've probably been in this position where you post something and it gets no likes, it gets no comments, it doesn't even really reach that many people. That happens all the time. And so therefore people are like, this thing isn't working, right? But what they don't realize is that somebody did see that and then they bought. Somebody did see it yesterday, or it came up 3 days later because it's not chronological order anymore, and they saw that and they purchased from you. All right, so the delayed gratification and the content creation of ideas side of things are the two reasons why people are stuck or they get uninspired by content creation. But like anything, it's a muscle that we need to build, a habit and a routine that we actually need to build. So if you're struggling to create content, this will be really helpful for you. Firstly, we need to get in a routine, posting 4 to 5 times per week on our social platforms. That's even just posts, like in terms of still posts and reels, videos, but then daily stories as well in terms of what you're up to. Okay, behind the scenes type stuff, might be packing orders. Again, we'll go into the ideas in a second. But you need to be posting regularly to get into that habit. And like anything, like any skill that you have learned up to this point with your business, it's a muscle that we need to build. So routine, pushing through what might seem like a little bit of pain to actually get it done. But the more that you do something, the more familiar you get with it, the more in rhythm and routine, the easier it's going to be and sustainable it's going to be as well. So what, really strong recommendation that I advise my clients to do is do your content first thing in the morning. Don't give yourself an excuse. Don't go to your inbox. Don't go to to your social platforms and start looking at messages, do your content first, get it done, and you'll be feeling really good by the time you get into everything else that you need to do throughout your day. So let's get into the ideas side of things, because this is, point number one. People procrastinate on it. They let themselves get away with it because they're stuck for ideas. So let's really break it down. So the first thing that I would look at is, what are your content pillars? Now, I don't want to sound like every other social person, out there, social media agency, whatever. It's basically, you need to know what you're obviously going to be putting out there in terms of content. So pillars, it's really important to have what I'd say basically 3 things that you create content off of, I'd say subcategories. Okay, so the first one is just your product. Honestly, people follow you, they're going to your page, they like you because of what you actually create, the product. So have no shortage of images and videos and reels that you can post of just your product. Now, what does that mean? It could be flat lay, it could be in the studio, it could be, raw content at your house or in action, whatever functionality your products actually serve. And I often say that if in doubt, post something about product. The second part is around you, right? Your values, what your brand stands for, you even as the founder, and telling your story and really helping people believe in you and why you created that product. And this goes back to our foundational type stuff of know, like, and trust. People buy from people who they know, they like, they trust. So ideas around that is going to be things, again, your brand story, talking just like this, like I am now, and sharing with people why you created your product, and then showing them demonstrations, right? And the third pillar I like to look at is essentially like social proofing, user-generated content, showing reviews, showing anything that will help people understand that you have customers that do know, like, and trust you, and that they can trust you as well. You're a reputable brand that is doing amazing things in your respective industry. And so another recommendation about ideas, this is going to sound like this is like the biggest cheat code, trust me. Use ChatGPT. If you're not using ChatGPT, you are missing out on so much knowledge, what I'd say like shared or borrowed knowledge. Okay, you can literally put into ChatGPT, this is my market, this is my target audience, and give me ideas around content about what these people want to know. It'll spit out dozens of ideas which you can go and expand on. You can go down the rabbit hole and say, yep, that's a great category. Give me 10 more ideas of this, or this. You can even go to the extent of how do I film this, or what script should I write, or what caption should I have, right? So use ChatGPT as your second brain. That's what I typically advise people to do. Another platform is something called Answer the Public, right? Just Google it, answerthepublic.com, it probably is. And you can basically search what people are actually searching for, all right? So in Google, for example, so it'll pump out basically a list of questions. So if I type out cold pressed juice, it's going to give me about 100 or 150 questions that people have asked in Google about cold pressed juice and cleansing. How to do it, when to do it, what's the best, how does it work? And that provides content ideas that you can go and explain, okay? Again, if you want to use a little bit of a hack, grab one of those questions, put it in ChatGPT and start to tease out that question, and then ask it what sort of physical content you could actually create. And then look at people that you look up to. Look at, competitors, not too closely with competitors, but maybe people and businesses in other industries that you look up to. Just follow them. Look at what they're doing. Look at what's not necessarily trending, but what's valuable for you and what would be valuable for your potential customers or your audience. All right, so look outside of your network or even your field to get inspired and ideas. We should never be creating content from a point of zero. Getting further down the list, if you're really, really, really strapped, repeat the same content. I'm talking about every 2-3 months. If you don't have any ideas, pull something from the bottom of your Instagram profile and put it to the top. Honestly, no one will notice. Not many people even scroll 1 or 2, down from the top. So use it, especially if it did really well, because 1, they won't remember, and even if someone does, it's not a big deal. But 2, you're going to have new followers in your network all the time, so they wouldn't have seen it the first time around as well. So you can basically repeat content as a get out clause, let's call it, if you're really, really strapped on time and ideas. Another thing is honestly just test. Right? There's no bad ideas when it comes to content. You want to figure out what's going to work for your demographic, what's going to work and people are going to respond to. Again, as the algorithm starts to build up steam and understands that you're a content producer, okay, you're on a social platform to produce value, to help people stay on the platforms longer, that's their goal, then they're going to favor you and start to feed it out to more people regardless. So don't be afraid to test content. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you want it to be a testing ground for your ads, right? So if you don't do content, if you don't test anything new, you're never going to find more ideas that you can put into your ads, which could potentially produce hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from your ad content. So that's like the top 5 or 6 places where to generate ideas. You never want to be strapped for ideas. You want to have a black book of ideas, and just when you're feeling motivated, when you're feeling inspired, when you're doing your research, just go bang, 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 fill them out so you're never caught at ground zero when you're creating the content. Another hot tip is to be able to actually produce that content and backlog it. Again, you don't want to necessarily rock up on the day and be like, oh goodness me, I've got to actually produce an idea, then I've got to produce the content, then I've got to post it. Firstly, plan it, right? So plan out your week, even better if it's your month, knowing exactly what content you're going to be producing and posting on that day. That way, half the job, if not more of the job, is actually done. You just have to go and do it. Because again, going back to why people don't do it, they're caught in the idea stage. That's 75 to 80% of people's headspace. And then once you've got the idea, you just go and create it, and that's the easy part. So that's what you need to do is firstly have that black book in that research phase and the ideas phase, right? Just of ideas, you never run out. And then secondly, when you're actually producing the content, it really pays dividends to forward produce content. So again, you can just pull it, post it, nice and easy. So again, I want to remove another barrier. Okay, if you think it has to be this Hollywood production, if you have this, photo shoot kind of quality, social content is social content for a reason. The only thing that you need is your phone. I can basically guarantee you that. The best content we ever produced for Karmic, our cold pressed juice company, was with my iPhone, looking at some beautiful juices in the fridge, panning across, or doing an unboxing with my wife's hands, because they're a lot more attractive than mine, and showing that to people because it's relatable. So your iPhone is basically all that you need. Now, in terms of any editing tools, again, I like Raw more than anything. But if you wanted to test some more content, use Canva. Okay, you can put anything you want over the top, design anything you want with your imagery. That's the best form to use for imagery. Another great tool is CapCut. All right, that's for videos, that's for reels, that's for anything you could possibly need when it comes to editing. So there's just 2 tools that you can honestly use, and you don't need to go beyond that. I would only recommend getting a contractor in when you've mastered the skill yourself, but when time becomes the restriction. Just be aware that just because you're outsourcing something doesn't mean the work is suddenly cut, or the responsibility is cut from you. You need to manage them, you need to give them the inputs, meaning you probably still have to produce the content. It's just a matter of them actually editing it, so you don't have to waste time, even them scheduling it, right? So be very careful with contractors, but you yourself, or whoever's doing your content within your business, phone content, Canva, CapCut, super simple. And then the only place to go from there is just being really prepared, right? So dedicate a day or half a day or 2 hours a week where you are planning out the next week. So when you rock up to your desk, when you know you need to produce content, you've got a backlog of ideas, you've hopefully even got a backlog of content, and you can just go bang, bang, bang and execute. Because the long-term benefits that we've seen over 13 years of being in e-commerce myself and seeing hundreds of e-commerce brands come through, the ones that are good and solid and consistent with producing content do the best. Trust me, they do the best. They ignore the delayed gratification. They know the long-term benefits of feeding the prospective customers through the secondary shopfront, being their social platforms. They know the long-term benefits of producing content for ads, and they are reaping the benefits. They're the ones that are scaling to 10, 20, 30, 50K, 100K months really quickly because they understand how important this effort is. It's the third part of our marketing triangle, dovetailed with ads and also contributed to by our database. So creating content. I hope this video has been valuable for you. All right, if you're interested, if you want to know more about how we help e-commerce businesses in a more intimate capacity in our paid programs, there's a link below. You can check it out. There's some more details there if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to. But if you like this video, if you appreciate this video, if you got some value, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, and any comments below, I'm happy to look at and obviously entertain any topics that you guys want to know about. I'm here to provide value. All right, I've just got all this knowledge sitting in my brain. I'd rather know what you guys want to know versus trying to obviously guess. But look, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.